Your body is sending you signals right now. Most people completely misread what those signals mean. What feels wrong might actually be going right. Fasting triggers ancient biological systems still living inside you. These systems were built over millions of years. They kept your ancestors alive through harsh conditions. Today, your body still carries that same survival code. When you stop eating, something extraordinary quietly begins. This video decodes exactly what is happening inside. You will never fear fasting discomfort again after this. Most people quit fasting in the very first hours. They feel strange, dizzy, or suddenly irritable and cold. They assume their body is rejecting the fast entirely. But biology tells a completely different and fascinating story. Those early symptoms are not warning signs at all. They are confirmation that transformation has already begun inside. Your body is not panicking when you skip meals. It is switching to a smarter and older system. That system was designed for exactly this kind of moment. Understanding it changes everything about how fasting feels. For most of human history, food was never guaranteed. Our ancestors hunted for days without eating anything substantial. They could not afford to become weak when hungry. Instead, hunger made them faster, sharper, and more alert. Evolution did not reward weakness during periods of fasting. It rewarded efficiency, mental clarity, and physical endurance instead. Your DNA still carries every single one of those adaptations. When you fast today, you activate that ancient programming. Your body does not enter survival panic under fasting. It enters survival excellence, exactly as nature designed it. The science behind fasting has grown remarkably clear recently. Dr. Mark Mattson spent over 25 years studying this. He served as a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins University. He also researched at the U.S. National Institute on Aging. His findings revealed something scientists now call the metabolic switch. After roughly 10 to 12 hours without food, everything changes. Your body depletes its stored sugar supply called glycogen. It then begins converting stored body fat into fuel. That fuel switch is the beginning of true transformation. Everything that follows flows directly from that one shift. As fat breaks down, your liver produces special molecules. These molecules are called ketones, and they are powerful. Ketones travel through the bloodstream to your brain and muscles. They provide clean, stable, and remarkably efficient energy to cells. Unlike sugar, ketones do not spike and then crash. They burn steadily like a slow and reliable flame. But ketones are not just a fuel source alone. They are also biological signals that trigger deep healing. They activate cellular repair, boost growth hormone, and reduce inflammation. One small fuel switch sets off an entire cascade. That cascade touches nearly every system inside your body. It touches your hormones, your brain, your immune system. It touches your skin, your mood, and your metabolism. Each of the 8 signs you will learn today, each one is a window into that deeper process. Each one proves your body is working, not failing. So do not stop when the first signs appear. Do not confuse adaptation with breakdown ever again. Let biology be your guide through this entire journey. Now let us walk through every sign one by one. Sign 1 is hunger that arrives and leaves in waves. Most people expect hunger to grow stronger every hour. They imagine it building like pressure in a closed vessel. But that is not how hunger actually works biologically. Research by Dr. Mattson revealed something far more interesting here. Hunger is controlled by a hormone known as ghrelin. Ghrelin does not rise steadily based on how long you fast. It rises and falls based on your habitual meal times. If you usually eat lunch at noon every day, your ghrelin will spike sharply right around that same hour. That spike feels intense, urgent, and nearly impossible to ignore. Your stomach growls, your mind races toward food immediately. Every craving you have ever felt arrives at all once. But here's the fascinating part most people never reach. If you simply wait and do not eat anything, the hunger peak passes completely within 20 to 30 minutes. Your ghrelin drops back down without any food consumed. The hunger dissolves like fog burning off in morning sunlight. You return to feeling normal, sometimes more alert than before. That passing wave is sign 1 working perfectly inside you. This wave pattern repeats throughout your entire fasting window. Hunger surges at your old meal times, then fades quietly. Each time it fades, your body recalibrates its internal rhythm. It learns it can function without food at that hour. It learns to trust fat reserves instead of incoming calories. That recalibration is a profound shift in metabolic flexibility. Your body is becoming less dependent on constant food intake. It is gaining the ability to sustain itself from within. That is not weakness arriving at your door right now. That is ancient metabolic strength returning to your biology today. Many people fear hunger as if it were a crisis. Our modern culture has treated hunger as a dangerous emergency. We reach for food the moment any discomfort appears. But under the lens of biology, hunger is just a message. That message says your body is adjusting and recalibrating now. It is not collapsing. It is communicating with you directly. When you ride out that first wave without eating anything, you prove to your own body a remarkable and important thing. You prove that you are in control now, and your body responds by entering a deeper metabolic state. Sign 2 is breath that smells metallic or slightly fruity. After your hunger waves stabilize, another curious and unmistakable kind of odor quietly begins to appear next. Your breath begins carrying an unusual and unmistakable kind of odor. Some describe it as metallic, others say slightly sweet or fruity. It can smell faintly like fermented apples or nail polish remover. If you notice this, do not reach for a mint yet. What you are smelling is not bacteria or poor dental hygiene. It is something far more significant happening deep inside your metabolism. It is direct biochemical proof that your body has switched fuel sources. Your liver is now converting stored fat into ketones actively. Of the 3 main types of ketones your body produces, acetone is the one most responsible for that unusual breath odor. Acetone is highly volatile and exits your body through your lungs. Every breath you exhale carries a small amount of acetone out. That smell is essentially your body announcing its new fuel source. It is proof that fat burning has officially begun inside. Dr. Matson describes this moment as a physiological turning point entirely. Your body is no longer dependent on glucose from your food. It has made the full switch to fat as primary fuel, and that switch brings with it a cascade of powerful benefits. Many people feel sharper and lighter when ketone breath appears. Focus improves noticeably and physical energy becomes more consistent and smooth. Brain fog that may have been present earlier begins dissolving fast. The nervous system starts receiving cleaner and more stable fuel now. Muscles also benefit from ketone fuel during sustained physical activity. Endurance athletes have long used ketosis to enhance performance significantly. Your body does not need to be an athlete to benefit. Simply fasting long enough to enter ketosis gives you those same advantages. Metallic breath is not a problem you need to solve quickly. It is a biological medal worth quietly celebrating this very moment. If the odor bothers you during your fasting window today, there are safe ways to manage it without breaking your fast. Drink plenty of plain water or unsweetened herbal tea throughout the day. Both help flush acetone gently without introducing any calories to your system. Avoid sugary gum, mints, or flavored drinks that could spike insulin. Even small amounts of sugar can interrupt the fat-burning process. A simple rinse with water or tongue scraping works perfectly fine. Remember that the smell is temporary and fades as fasting continues. Your body adjusts its ketone production as adaptation deepens over time. What seems strange today is simply your biology doing its best work. Sign 4 is cold hands and cold feet during fasting. After your breath begins to change with ketone production actively, another unusual physical sensation tends to quietly creep into your awareness next. Your hands feel colder than usual, your feet follow closely after it. The room temperature has not changed, but your extremities certainly have. This can feel alarming if you don't understand what is happening,
But this sensation is not a sign of weakness or illness. It is one of the clearest signals of your body's intelligence. Your ancient survival mechanism has just switched itself fully on today. Your body is now operating in deliberate energy conservation mode. When you fast, your insulin levels drop significantly and quickly. This drop signals to your body that no new fuel is coming. The body responds by entering a careful and strategic conservation mode. It reduces heat generated from digestion since no digestion is occurring. It redirects blood flow away from the extremities, like hands and feet. Blood is rerouted inward toward vital and non-negotiable organs instead. The heart, liver, brain, and kidneys receive prioritized circulation during fasting. Your fingertips and toes receive slightly less blood flow as a result.
This is called survival heat prioritization by researchers studying fasting physiology. It is a perfectly calibrated response that has existed for millennia. Your hunter-gatherer ancestors could not waste heat on cold fingertips. Every calorie of warmth had to protect the organs sustaining life. So the body learned to route resources toward what mattered most. That ancient intelligence is still running inside your body right now. When your hands go cold during a fast, honor that signal. Your body is not shutting down or struggling in any way. It is optimizing itself around the resources that are currently available. Put on a light layer if the chill feels too uncomfortable. Drink warm water or herbal tea to gently raise core comfort. Take a short, slow walk to encourage circulation through your limbs. Sign 4 is initial fatigue that gives way to stable energy. After cold hands and ketone breath settle into your awareness fully, the next phase of fasting introduces what feels like deep tiredness. Your mind slows slightly. Your body feels heavier than usual now. Motivation to move or think may dip noticeably during this window. Many people reach this point and decide to break their fast immediately. They interpret the fatigue as proof their body cannot handle fasting. But this fatigue is one of the most important signs of all. It means your metabolic switch is in the middle of flipping. Your body is actively changing your entire energy infrastructure right now. Think of it like a city switching from one power grid to another. The lights flicker briefly during the transition between the two systems. That flicker is not failure, it is changeover happening in real time. Your glucose supply is running low, but ketones have not fully ramped up. There is a gap between the old fuel and the new one. That gap is where fatigue lives during the early hours of fasting. Dr. Mattson described this exact window in his research on fasting metabolism. It is the bridge your body must cross to reach the other side. And the other side is something most people never get to experience, because most people stop fasting right here at the bridge itself. If you stay with the fast through this temporary fatigue window, something remarkable begins to happen on the other side of that gap. Ketone levels rise steadily until they fully replace glucose as brain fuel. The liver increases ketone output to match what the brain is demanding. Adaptation systems activate across your muscles, organs, and nervous system simultaneously. Energy begins returning, but this time it feels completely different than before. There are no spikes, no crashes, no sudden drops in alertness. Instead, you feel smooth, steady, and surprisingly capable of sustained focus. This is what researchers call fat-adapted or metabolically flexible energy delivery. Your body has successfully completed its fuel source transition at this point. Growth hormone also surges significantly during this phase of sustained fasting. Studies show fasting can increase growth hormone levels by 3 to 5 times. Growth hormone protects muscle tissue from being broken down for energy use.
It supports tissue regeneration, cellular repair, and deep fat burning simultaneously. Your body is not eating muscle when it enters this fasting state. It is protecting muscle while burning fat reserves with remarkable efficiency. The fatigue you felt was simply the cost of that transformation beginning. Every powerful upgrade comes with a brief and necessary period of adjustment. Honor the tiredness as a sign that something important is underway. Push gently through it and discover the energy waiting on the other side. Sign 5 is initial brain fog that clears into sharp and unusual clarity. As your energy stabilizes in the fat-burning state you have entered, a parallel shift begins happening inside your brain at the same time. At first, the mental transition mirrors the physical one you just felt. A light fog settles over your thinking, and concentration feels difficult. Words come slower, decisions feel heavier, and focus refuses to hold. This cognitive cloudiness can last anywhere from 1 to several hours. It depends on how metabolically flexible your brain already is right now. But then, something shifts, and it shifts quite suddenly and completely. The fog does not thin gradually, it lifts almost all at once. This happens because a specific ketone called BHB has reached your brain. BHB stands for beta-hydroxybutyrate, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier easily. Once inside, it becomes the brain's preferred and highly efficient fuel source. Unlike glucose, BHB does not cause the energy fluctuations sugar does. It burns cleanly and consistently, fueling neurons with remarkable stability and efficiency. The brain responds to BHB the way a dry engine responds to oil. Everything runs smoother, quieter, and more effectively than it did before. Thoughts arrive with more clarity, and decisions feel lighter and easier. Focus deepens naturally, without effort or artificial stimulation of any kind. This is your brain operating on its evolutionary preferred fuel source. Fasting also increases a protein called BDNF inside the brain significantly. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it's remarkable. It protects existing brain cells from damage and deterioration over time. It also strengthens the connections between neurons throughout your entire brain. Scientists often call BDNF the natural fertilizer for human brain tissue. Higher BDNF levels are associated with better memory, focus, and mood regulation. Fasting is one of the most reliable and natural ways to raise it. Your ancestors needed peak mental performance precisely when food was scarce. The brain evolved to sharpen itself during fasting rather than dull itself. That same evolutionary design is active inside your skull right now today. Sign 6 is hunger decreasing noticeably after the 24-hour fasting mark. This sign is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all. Logic suggests that hunger should keep increasing the longer you go without food. The longer you wait, the hungrier you should become by simple reasoning. But biology disagrees with that logic in a profound and surprising way. Many people who push past the 24-hour mark report a fascinating experience. Hunger does not increase as expected, it actually begins to decrease noticeably. The intense craving that dominated the first few hours fades into the background. A quiet sense of comfortable neutrality replaces the urgency of earlier hunger. This is not imagination, it is a measurable hormonal and metabolic shift. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, is largely responsible for this surprising phenomenon. As previously established, ghrelin rises at habitual mealtimes and then falls. After 24 hours, those habitual mealtime signals begin to weaken and fade. Ghrelin output reduces as the body updates its internal hormonal schedule. Fewer ghrelin spikes means fewer intense and disruptive hunger signals reaching your brain. The system recalibrates to the new reality of an extended fasting window. Your body essentially accepts that a different operating mode is now in effect, and it adjusts its hormone output to support that mode efficiently. This hormonal adaptation is one of the most freeing aspects of extended fasting. It means the hardest part of fasting is actually the very beginning. Ketones also play a direct role in suppressing appetite during extended fasting. Once ketones reach sufficient levels in the bloodstream, appetite naturally decreases. The brain receives adequate fuel and stops sending urgent demands for more food. Blood sugar stabilizes completely without the crashes that normally trigger intense cravings. The entire craving cycle that dominates normal eating patterns simply stops occurring. You no longer feel driven by the frantic need to eat immediately. Instead, a calm and functional sense of satiety settles into your awareness. This does not mean you will never feel hungry again during the fast, but the quality and intensity of that hunger changes dramatically after this point. It becomes manageable, mild, and no longer feels like a biological emergency. Sign 7 is skin breakouts appearing as your body cleans itself deeply. This sign surprises most people more than the others listed here.
You expect fasting to make your skin clearer and more radiant over time, but when small breakouts or redness appear instead, confusion and concern arrive quickly. It can feel like your body is rejecting or reacting negatively to fasting, but what is actually happening beneath the surface is deeply positive and necessary. Your body has activated a powerful cellular housekeeping process called autophagy. Autophagy is your body's built-in system for cleaning and recycling damaged cells. It breaks down old, malfunctioning cell parts and repurposes their raw materials. This process only activates fully when insulin levels drop low enough during fasting. As autophagy runs its cleaning cycle through your tissues and organs, compounds that were previously stored or trapped inside fat cells get released. Metabolic byproducts, cellular debris, and other substances enter the bloodstream for removal. Your liver works to filter and process these released compounds as quickly as possible. Your kidneys and lymphatic system join the effort and work alongside the liver. But during intense or prolonged fasting, the volume of material can be significant. When the liver becomes temporarily overwhelmed with the detox workload it faces, the skin steps in as a secondary and supporting elimination organ. Breakouts, mild redness, or temporary dullness appear as that material exits through skin. This is not harm, it is evidence of deep internal spring cleaning. Think of it as stirring up sediment at the bottom of a clear lake. The water looks murky and unclear for a brief period of time, but once the sediment settles and clears, the water is cleaner than before. Your skin may go through a similar temporary murkiness during early fasting. This phase passes as your elimination organs catch up with the cleanup workload. Support the process by drinking generous amounts of clean water throughout each day. Rest adequately and avoid adding more toxins through processed food or alcohol. Do not panic and do not break your fast with sugar-heavy foods. Each breakout is a visible sign of invisible cellular repair happening deeply inside. Your body is literally renovating itself one cell at a time right now. Sign 8 is mood swings as your nervous system adapts to fasting. This final sign is one of the most emotionally challenging to navigate well. You are fasting quietly, and then your emotions become unexpectedly unstable. Irritability arrives suddenly. Anxiety surfaces for no obvious external reason at all.
A wave of sadness or restlessness washes through you without clear cause. You might snap at someone you care about over something completely trivial, or you might feel a hollow and unnamed melancholy settling into your chest. These emotional shifts feel personal, but they are actually entirely physiological in origin. Your nervous system is responding exactly as it was designed to respond. The fuel source beneath your mood and cognition is actively changing right now. Under normal conditions, your brain runs almost entirely on glucose for fuel. Your emotional regulation systems are calibrated around steady glucose availability throughout the day. When glucose drops during fasting, those systems temporarily lose their familiar footing. The HPA axis, which stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, activates in response. This is your core stress response system, and it is ancient and powerful. It releases cortisol and norepinephrine to help manage the change in fuel availability. These hormones heighten alertness and prepare your body to find food if needed, but they also make you more emotionally reactive and sensitive to minor stressors. This is the biological root of fasting-related mood swings and emotional sensitivity. It is not weakness, it is your survival circuitry operating exactly as intended. The good news is that this emotional turbulence does not last indefinitely. As ketones rise and the brain adapts to its new fuel source, cortisol and norepinephrine begin returning to their baseline levels progressively. Emotional stability gradually returns as the brain becomes comfortable running on ketones. Many people report feeling an unusual and unexpected sense of calm after this, a quiet steadiness that feels different from ordinary post-meal contentment or satisfaction. Some describe it as a kind of mental stillness they rarely experience otherwise. That stillness is your nervous system settling into its fat-adapted operating mode. It is one of the most rewarding experiences fasting has to offer anyone, but it only comes to those who stay patient through the turbulence first. To support yourself through the mood swing phase of fasting effectively, try gentle and unhurried movement, like walking slowly through a natural outdoor environment. Practice slow and deliberate breathing exercises during moments of heightened emotional intensity. A warm shower can help calm the nervous system quickly and gently. Meditation, even for just 5 minutes of quiet, can anchor you during emotional storms. Avoid making important or emotionally charged decisions during peak mood disruption. Be kind to yourself during this phase with the same patience you would give a friend. Your nervous system is not malfunctioning, it is recalibrating at a deep level. Give it the space and gentleness it needs to complete that process. The calm waiting on the other side is genuinely worth every difficult moment. Now you have walked through all 8 signs of a working fast: hunger arriving in waves, metallic breath, cold hands, and early fatigue, mental fog clearing into unusual focus, hunger fading after the first full day, temporary skin breakouts, and emotional turbulence completing the full transformation cycle. Not one of these signs is something to fear or misinterpret again. Each one is a chapter written in the language of your own biology. Each one proves something extraordinary is unfolding inside you in real time. Your body is not fragile. It was never designed to be fragile. It was designed to endure, adapt, and emerge stronger from periods of fasting. Every uncomfortable sensation is simply proof that the design is working perfectly. The human body is one of the most sophisticated systems ever created. It contains billions of years of accumulated evolutionary intelligence and adaptive programming. When you fast, you are not depriving that system of something it needs. You are giving it the silence it needs to do its deepest work. Digestion is an enormously energy-intensive process that runs nearly constantly in modern life. When you pause that process through fasting, energy is freed for other priorities. Cellular repair accelerates, inflammation decreases, and metabolic efficiency improves across all systems. Hormones recalibrate, brain function sharpens, and the immune system conducts its maintenance work. None of this can happen at full capacity while digestion is constantly running. Fasting is not absence of care for your body, it is deep care. Every ancient culture on every continent practiced some form of intentional fasting, not because they lacked food necessarily, but because they understood its profound value. Spiritual traditions across the world independently arrived at fasting as a sacred practice. Modern science is now confirming what ancient wisdom quietly understood for thousands of years. The body heals itself most powerfully when given consistent periods of deliberate rest. That rest from eating is what fasting provides in its most essential form. You are not doing something extreme or unusual by choosing to fast today. You are participating in one of the oldest human health practices ever recorded. Your body recognizes this practice because it was literally built around it. When you fast, you are finally speaking your body's oldest and truest language. The next time discomfort arrives during your fast, pause before interpreting it negatively. Ask instead what sign this might be, what process this might represent. Is your breath changing, your hands cooling, your hunger arriving in waves? Are you tired, foggy, emotionally stirred, or noticing something different about your skin? Each of these experiences is your body communicating with you in its own language. That language is not one of distress, it is one of transformation. It speaks in the vocabulary of adaptation, repair, renewal, and deep biological change. Learn to hear it clearly, and you will never misread your body again. You will fast with confidence, with patience, and with deep biological understanding. And your body will reward that understanding in ways that go far beyond weight. Fasting is not just about how you look when it is finished. It is about what your cells, hormones, and brain become through the process. It is about metabolic flexibility, cellular longevity, and neurological sharpness built over time. It is about reclaiming a relationship with hunger that is calm rather than fearful.
It is about discovering that your body is far more capable than you imagined. Every hour you spend fasting is an investment in your deepest biological systems. Every wave of hunger you ride out makes the next one easier to manage. Every sign you recognize brings you closer to understanding your own biology fully. That knowledge is one of the most empowering things any person can possess. And it begins with simply choosing to stay curious instead of afraid today. If you have experienced any of these 8 signs during your own fasting, know that your body was doing exactly what it was designed to do. If you are just beginning and these signs feel unfamiliar and slightly intimidating, carry this knowledge with you into every fasting window you attempt from now on. Let biology be your compass and let curiosity replace fear at every turn. Your body is not working against you when fasting feels uncomfortable or strange. It is working harder for you than it has worked in a very long time. Trust that process, honor those signals, and stay present through each transformation. The 8 signs are not warnings, they are invitations to go deeper inside. Your body has been waiting patiently for you to finally accept that invitation.